Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Carlos, and it appears I haven't changed out of my work attire. Didn't think you were gonna find out Spider-Man's identity like that. But today is the very first episode of Carlos's Marvelous Toy Review. And today we are gonna be reviewing the 2020 90s retro Green Goblin. I personally really love this figure, but before we get started, let's touch on some facts. The first appearance of the Green Goblin actually took place in the Amazing Spider-Man number 14. But due to Marvel actually not knowing who was going to be the secret identity of the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn wasn't introduced until episode 37. And then he actually wasn't revealed as the Green Goblin until issue number 39. Goblin is infamously known for, if you've seen The Amazing Spider-Man 2, spoiler alert, Gwen Stacy dies, she snaps her neck. But in the comic books, Green Goblin actually threw her off of a bridge, and Spider-Man did try to save her just like in the movie, but he was unable to because she snapped her neck and she died. And then another fun fact is I love the first Spider-Man movies. Like the Sam Raimi movies are fantastic. I think he's one of the few heroes that we have that he actually doesn't have a bad movie. I love all the Spider-Man movies. But you know that scene in the first, spoiler alert again, in the first Spider-Man movie where the Green Goblin impales himself with his own glider? That actually took place in The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 122. Because we are talking about the 90s Green Goblin, let's talk about when he was introduced in the animated series. I personally love this series. I think it still holds up to this day. Not fantastically, but I do think it's cool. The animation style is cool, the intro is cool. I even showed it to my daughter and we were watching it together. She seemed to enjoy it. But he had his first episode in the 90s animated series on May 14th, 1996 in episode number 31. And now that we've got some fun facts out of the way, let's take a look at the packaging for this figure. I personally think the packaging looks really good. I think he looks cool. I love this retro look. It looks just like what I kind of imagine. What it is really just looks like the cartoon, and I love that. I love anything nostalgia. I love this kind of thing. I mean, look at him with his bug eyes, his green skin, and that purple. Oh, I just think he's a perfect representation of that 90s look we're going for. And let's take a look at the back and you'll see there's a little information. Feel free to pause the video here if you want to read that. But I personally like this figure, and so now let's take a more in-depth look to the figure himself. Alright, now that we're done with the fun facts, let's look at this Green Goblin figure. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I personally love this figure. I think he looks awesome. Look at this detail. Look at that detail on the face sculpt. And yes, I get it, he has bug eyes, but this green, this purple, I love the detail. I love that he has scales. I really just think he's so cool. Look at this purple. Look at this glider. Look at this glider. I think it's really cool. I mean, I'll probably have to modify it a little bit just to make it a little more detailed, but I just think it's cool that it comes with it. And it really does give me those nostalgic, you know, kind of take me back to the 90s era. He also comes with this replacement head of Norman Osborn. I think it's cool how you can actually see all the details in his hair, and he has that weird line haircut that he rocks in the show. I don't know what happened there, but honestly, he looks pretty good. He looks like a good Norman Osborn. I've seen online where people replace, instead of putting that head on the Green Goblin body, they will actually put it on like a chameleon body and I kind of dig that. I really like the, where I saw one where he put the Norman Osborn head on Professor Xavier. But look at this. He looks fantastic, personally. I mean, you don't gotta like him. Everyone's got their opinion. But for me, I mean, I mainly collect Spider-Man and Iron Man figures. And so for me, this is actually perfect for my collection. And I grew up watching this cartoon. Look at that. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Yeah. I mean business. A little buggy-eyed, but I like it. So I just remembered that with that Green Goblin figure, you actually get a really cool pumpkin bomb, which I can't seem to find right now. And it's really upsetting. I looked and I looked and I looked and I can't find it. And I was too nervous apparently during the video that I forgot all about it. But it comes with a really cool pumpkin bomb. I like it a lot. Let's see. Let's take a look at his articulation. Let's take a look at his articulation. He can bend at the knees. He's double jointed at the knees. I actually got this figure at a comic book convention here in Hickory, North Carolina, and I just thought I got a really good deal on him. This guy usually runs you about $40 right now, is what I've seen on eBay and Amazon. But I caught him for about $15. He was out of box, but I don't care. I mean, look at him. Look at it. He looks fantastic. He can internally and externally rotate his hips. He can ankle dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. Oh, that's plantar flexion. This is dorsiflexion. He can invert, evert. Let's see. Ooh, his boots even twist. I'll be honest, I just kind of pose my figures. So I'll spend a lot of time taking pictures and looking and really posing them. He does have this back joint, so he can extend at the back and crunch at the waist. I like that. He can twist his arms all the way around. And his hands can supinate and pronate. The gloves don't turn. That's okay. His head goes up and down real well. And he can twist all the way around. You know what? Honestly, this is such a well-articulated action figure that it's really upsetting that not all figures have this kind of articulation, or they're real stiff or loose. And I know you can put them in hot water, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. As you can see in the background there, though, we have Venom, Big Time Badass Spidey, and my Green Goblin Pop. I really like this figure. And so for a size comparison, I do have these other figures. Let's see if we can get him to stand. Let's go next to Monster Venom. Monster Venom will actually be the next figure that I review. And so let's take a look. Alright, so for a size comparison, if you're like me and you have a Spider-Man collection, you can clearly see there's quite the size difference between these two, but I think it's fair, it makes sense, considering the 90s Venom is so much bigger. Venom is actually going to be the next figure I review. What are you looking at? I don't know what that is. That's not a Green Goblin voice. So next we have a size comparison next to him, Big Time Badass Spidey, and Monster Venom. So as you can see here, there's quite the size difference between Venom. There's a little bit of a size difference between Spider-Man and the Green Goblin as well. But honestly, I feel like it looks pretty good. I can't complain. And honestly, looking at the Venom figure now, I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Venom will actually be the next figure I review. So if you feel like coming back, please do. Alright, I think that's going to wrap up this video. But for a review, honestly, I'm going to have to give this figure, for me, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. If it wasn't for those eyes, I'd be a solid 10 out of 10. I love this figure. I think he's so detailed. He's going to look so cool once he's customized, just to bring out the definition that he has. Honestly, because if you look at the gloves, if you look at the boots, he just looks awesome. And I love it. I hope you love it too. I'm a new collector as well, so I feel like this is a good place to start. If you're a big Spider-Man fan and you want a villain to go into your collection, Green Goblin might be a steal that you can find on eBay. Next video will be Venom, so please like and subscribe.
So actually, we're going to do some more size comparisons, and just so you can see what he looks like next to the retro Spidey, next to retro Peter Parker, as well as next to the old school, or not necessarily old school, but the older version of the Green Goblin and the Hobgoblin, just for more reference points in case you decide to pick up this figure. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Again, I appreciate you guys for watching. Bye.